All right, so for number one, we learned the new triangle proportionality theorem in 8.4, and this is what I'm going to use here. Now, you can choose to set up your proportion from top of the triangle to the bottom, or from left to right, or right to left, or even bottom to top. But I like top to bottom because I'm going to put the numbers from the top portion of the triangle in the top of my fraction, and the bottom numbers in the bottom. So I'm going to set this up as 20 over 10 for this side, top to bottom, and then I'm going to do x over 6. Now, because you're not using a calculator, I highly recommend you simplify that blue fraction first to make the solving process a little bit easier. So I'm going to simplify 20 over 10, make it 2 to 1, and set it equal to x over 6. Now when I cross multiply, 1 times x is x, and 2 times 6 is 12. No division involved by simplifying that. Now you could have also set it up as left to right, so 20 over x, and then 10 over 6. Either way would give you the same answer, because if you notice, you're still doing the same cross products. For number two, I'm going to do exactly the same thing. I'm going to do from top to bottom. So this x over the 12, and then the 18 over the 16. You could also set it up side to side. Either way will give you the same result. So if I do x over 12, and then 18 over 16, again, I want to simplify any fractions that I can. I'm going to simplify the 18 over 16. I can divide them both by 2, and I can change this to 9 over 8. And now I'm going to cross multiply. So I'm going to multiply the 8 times the x, 12 times the 9. Now, one thing that I used to teach my Algebra 1 class, now technically what we can do here is let's just multiply it, and I'm going to show you another way that you can do it to maybe make it a little simpler. I'm going to multiply 12 times 9, I get 108. Now what I need to do is divide both sides by 8. So I'm going to show you the division. 108 divided by 8, 8 goes into 10 once, subtract, bring down, 8 goes into 28 3 times, subtract. Now this is where some people are getting messed up. Some people were doing this on the quiz where they took the remainder here and they thought they had to put 13.4. If this said round to the nearest whole number, you would get it wrong, because the correct answer is 13.5. So if this was an SAT question and you don't know how to divide and turn it into a decimal, you would pick the wrong multiple choice answer. The correct way to do this, if you're going to just make it a mixed number, you take the whole number on top, take the remainder, put it over the divisor, and then simplify. 4 over 8 is 1/2. But let's say you didn't want it a mixed number. The instruction said to turn it into a decimal. Then what we would have done is added a decimal point, bring the decimal point straight up, now bring down the 0, and 8 will go into 40 5 times. And that's how you get 13.5, which is equivalent to 13.5 as a mixed number. So understand how to divide decimals, or to turn an improper fraction into a decimal, or leave it a mixed number. Understand how to do that. It's probably a 5th grade skill that some people have forgotten because too many people rely on calculators. You may get an SAT question that is in the non-calculator portion where you might have to do a problem like this. So make sure you are reviewing these skills. Now, one other thing that I used to teach my Algebra 1 class is at this point when we were right here, instead of multiplying 12 times 9, I would leave it. And then I would show divide by 8. But then what I would do, this cancels because 8 divided by 8 is 1. Then I would look for something to simplify. And I could see that I could divide the 8 and the 12 both by 4, change this to a 2, this to a 3, and then I'm not multiplying 12 times 9. Instead, I'm doing 3 times 9, which is 27. I still have to divide, but it's a lot easier division problem. 2 goes into 27 13 times with 1 left over. I still get the same answer. So it sort of reduces my multiplication and division that I'm going to do in the problem. Again, this method is totally optional, but just be aware that you can do that just to maybe simplify things and bring it down a little. All right, let's try the next one. This one was the triangle angle bisector theorem. And I can tell that this angle up here has been bisected because right here they're telling me angle 1 is congruent to angle 2. Now you can set up your proportion by doing it like it had it in the notes, where you take the side here that was split and take the 2 segments it split it into, put that in a fraction together, and then the 10 is going to come and grab the side that it's next to, and then the 14 would come and grab its side that it's next to. That's one option. Or stay consistent, do top to bottom. Do 17 over 10, so this over this, and then do y over 14. It doesn't matter which way you do it. Just find a way, stay consistent. Now, again, you can either leave it the way it is, solve it, or I could reduce the purple to 5 over 7. And now I'll cross multiply. 5 times y is equal to 17 times 7. Now, leaving it unmultiplied won't help me on this because 5 won't divide into 7 or 17. But this gives me 119. Divide by 5. And then 119 divided by 5 goes in here twice. Goes in here 3 times. And again, you can either say it's 23 4/5, make it a mixed number, or add that decimal point, bring it down, the 0, and then 5 goes into 48 times. So 23 4/5, or also 23.8. Now, if you solve the other proportion, you would have gotten 10y equals 238. Whenever you divide by 10, it's like moving the decimal point 1 time. And then you get 23.8 that way as well. Either way, it doesn't matter. So for this one, again, you won't have one as complicated as this. I might give you a question where I might just have asked, what's the perimeter of lot B? Or what is the length of lot B's street in yards on Center Street? So it might have been just a portion of a question like this. Nothing where you would have had to do all of the calculations involved here, or the same as number 10 in the homework. So let's go ahead and look to see. We need to find the perimeter of each one of these lots. So the first thing I need to do is find the perimeter of lot A. And all 4 sides of this lot have been given to me. So all I need to do for lot A is take the sides that are in the picture and add them. So I'm going to add 80, 85, 130, and 110. And that will give me the perimeter for lot A, which is 405 yards. Now, for lot B, though, I do not have all 4 sides. I'm missing this one. I can call that X. So I'm going to be using a proportion to find that missing side. Now, I could either find the missing side and add it back, or I could also do a proportion using lot A's perimeter as well. So what I could do for lot B, 2 options here. Again, I need to find a side length ratio. So for the blue one, I could go ahead and take the 85 and the 80 and I can go ahead and put it together in a fraction. So I'm going to take lot A's 85 over 80. I can go ahead and divide both of them by 5 and make it 17 over 16. I'm going to be using that in my proportion. And now if I wanted to find the length of lot B's amount on Center Street, I would go ahead and put x over 120. And then I'm going to cross multiply. 16 times x, 17 times 120, and I get 2,040, divide by 16, and x equals, again, once I divide that, I get 127.5. Add up all the sides now. So for lot B, to find its perimeter, I just found that one missing side, 127.5. I'm going to add it to the 80, the 120, and the 110. Once I add all of that up, I get 437.5 yards. Now I need to do the same thing for lot C. And I can do a third proportion. And again, use the same thing, the 17 over 16. And I can set it up as x over 150. I'm going to go ahead and cross multiply. 16x and then 150 times 17. 2,550 divide by 16, and x equals 159.375. I'm going to round to the tenths, so 159.4. Now that I have that, I can add 159.4, 40, 150, and 80 to get the total perimeter for lot C. Now, one other thing I could have done for lot C, since I knew the whole length of Center Street, I could have also taken the total here, the 371.9, and I could have subtracted what I got, what I was given for lot A, what I found for lot B, subtracted these two numbers from the total, and this still would have given me the 159.4. So if you didn't want to do the proportion, you could have subtracted out the two pieces you already had. And now to answer the question, which lot has the greatest perimeter? That is going to be lot B, because it has 437.5 yards, where the other two is a 405 and 429. So 437 is greater. So that is it for your warm-up on 8.4.